Happy birthday, bitch!
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Mic check 212, bitch.
What is up, guys? This is DDP here for Mavs Fastbreak on this January 13th. Shameless plug, my birthday. Yes, I am still running streams on my birthday. You are welcome, and I thank you for your viewership and everything. So, we're going to kick off with a Mavs Fast Break here, and then later today, about 3:30, I'm going to be doing a Cowboys season in memoriam with Big Game James. We're going to talk about the Rams game and kind of the season as a whole for the Cowboys, as well as what we might expect going forward. But that's for later. This is now. How you guys doing? How have you been? I feel like some stuff has happened here as of late with the Mavericks. And Luka Doncic in particular, Luka legend, Kid Klutch. I like Kid Klutch a little bit as well recently, but it's a nickname admittedly that will age not so great as he gets further into his career, but at 19 years old, and with him I think currently second in clutch shooting percentage in the NBA. Maybe he got to first now, but he's right around there, first or second in clutch shooting percentage. And I think he's tied for seventh in terms of total points, despite being like nowhere near as many minutes as some of these other guys in those situations. It's just incredible what Luka is doing. So here we are. We're going to talk about it. As you see in the thumbnail over my shoulder here, we're talking a little bit about this Minnesota game in particular because holy crap, this kid nearly messed around and got a triple-double. 29 points, 12 assists, 8 rebounds. And Minnesota's not a bad team, man. When you're having to deal with like a Karl Anthony Towns, a Derrick Rose, who's clearly found the fountain of youth after 7-year hiatus or however long it's been since he was relevant, Minnesota's not bad. They can be a tricky team. So for Dallas to get just its fourth road win there, and shock, it's on the back of the Mavericks' own. Yeah, oh man, let's do a quick roll call actually. Gle, what's up? Let me actually start recording this a little bit here as well, so I can actually throw up the podcast after the fact. Mavs Fast Break, January 13th, DDP birthday edition. Can't catch him. What's good? Rangers King, watching the. I think I saw you correct yourself somewhere on the guy's name. Basie versus Gafford. Oh, okay, cool. Armin, what's good? Armin 38822. Luka equals Hall of Fame. He's got the potential, the ability to do it, but we'll see where he goes. It's halfway through year one, but I definitely have the feeling that Dallas might have an all-time great here with Luka, which is awesome. Gale, happy birthday! Appreciate that, fam. Appreciate that. This kid is setting all kinds of numbers that would take a long time to get into. Yes, he is. To break down Luka takes a lot of time if you really want to get to the root of everything he's doing and what he's accomplishing. But you know what? With football season now officially over, for Dallas teams at least, I'm going to be able to get into all that a little bit more moving forward. So stay tuned for that. Elite Bro, what's good, DDP? What's good, Elite Bro? All good over here. Slovenia is about to build a statue of Luka in the center of capital city. I don't know how to say the city's name, but that is legit if that is true. 19 years old, it's crazy that you could already be like a legend in an entire country's perspective. That's why I call him Luka Legend. He might not be an NBA legend yet, but he's certainly a legend in the EuroLeague, in Slovenia, and all of that. Speaking of which, I'm going to run a shameless plug here. If you guys are interested in the Dallas Prospect Luka Legend shirt design, that is a limited print. I've been saying that. Today is the last day that print will be running. Let me see. I'll try and find the actual graphic for you over Chia One moment. Take just a moment while I throw this graphic up. It's going to be the one that says, coming soon. They're here. If you go to represent.com/ oh, what's good? Someone just sub up. What's good? Appreciate that, fam. Yeah, but Luka Legend shirt design, those are available. I know the shirt design, or the text under it's going to say, coming soon. It's here. In fact, its last day of availability, at least for the time being, is today. There we go. Luka Legend shirt design. If you want to get one, go to represent.com/store/the-Dallas-prospect. Get one yourself. If you watched my Mavs vs. Hawks Luka v. Young 2 live stream, the commentary game that Indy and I did at Megsy Go Restaurant in Allen, Texas. We had Rangers King there as well with us, and a handful of other guys as well. Handful of good listeners. Check it out, because they're available, and I was wearing it there. I was wearing Luka Legend there. So, not to continue to take us off the beaten path here, there are some other things got to touch on as well. And then I'll dive back into the comments. So the Mavericks did, as I'm talking about Luka and the crazy run he goes on for the end of that game, score something like the last 9 or 10 Dallas points, including that gut check 3. With Dallas down 1, hits a pull-up 3 in transition with 23 seconds on the shot clock. 99 times out of 100, maybe even 100 times out of 100, you would argue, for most teams, if it's a one-possession game under 24 seconds to play, they're going to run the clock all the way down and try and get the shot. Luka sees they got a 5-on-4 break because Minnesota, who just turned the ball over, had one of their guys fall into the Mavericks bench. And so it sets up this perfect fast break. Luka sees it, recognizes it, pulls up in transition, delivers the dagger. Harrison Barnes then puts it away the rest of the way with a couple free throws. But Luka gets the game winner. Before that, about 6-7 minutes left in the game, Mavericks suffered a huge injury and loss for the season. This is a pretty devastating development for a fan favorite here. They lose JJ Barea. It has been confirmed. He has suffered a torn Achilles tendon. He is 34 years old, so the odds of him coming back from this injury and being like the JJ Barea of old, or like we've seen, his best years have come in his 30s in this second stint with Dallas. But of course, a fan favorite, a huge integral part of Dallas coming back in the 2011 NBA Finals against Miami. They're down 2-1, move JJ Barea into the starting lineup in place of Deshaun Stevenson, and that's the change of the series. The Mavericks didn't lose again once Barea was inserted into the starting lineup. So hate to see that for him, but he's 34. He's a 5'9" point guard, and he was doing something no one had done this year. I believe I saw that he was the only player in NBA history to be averaging 10-plus points plus 5-plus assists in less than 20 minutes off the bench a night, which I believe that was how I saw the stat laid out. That's incredible production, man. And I know some people can sometimes say, oh, well, he's taking some clutch possessions away from Luka. Barea gets the job done. I mean, he has. He is fantastic, and he can create for that second unit. He is very, very much so a part of what the Mavericks have been building the past few years. I don't know how far you looked and projected him into the future beyond this year, but it's really a shame to see that happen for him. And the second he goes down and you see him immediately reach for the Achilles tendon, I just was like, oh no. Because I knew it. I don't know if it'll end his career, but in all likelihood, it effectively does. Even if he comes back, the odds of him coming back and being anything like he is now, not good. Ask Wes Matthews. Wes Matthews in Portland was better than what we got here in Dallas. It's just a difference maker. Now, the plus side of this you can look at, and I don't mean to say this oh, here's the silver lining, because that sounds insensitive, but the results you'll see of this, which might not be as devastating and will be good for his development, his personal development, you're going to see more Jalen Brunson now moving forward. He's going to be a bigger part of it, and Brunson has definitely played some big minutes in these games. He's made some big impacts. So I'm excited to see what Brunson can do in that game, in that Minnesota game. He hits a huge 3 with, I think, a minute and change left off of a Luka just fantastic pass. dagger three in the corner, puts Dallas up at the time. So I feel sad for JJ, but I am excited to see some more from Brunson. Let's see, dive back into the comments here. Scroll up. There we go. Statue. Moment of silence for the Cowboys. I like it. Mavs are becoming must-see TV. It's awesome. They absolutely are. And that's the Luka effect. I mean, Luka is doing things that hadn't been seen in, some cases ever. In other cases, at least a decade. In that Minnesota game, Luka joined LeBron James as the only teenager to ever have, I think it was 25 plus points plus 12 assists in a single game. First one to do it since LeBron. LeBron did it, I believe, 4 times as a rookie. The last of which is what they pointed to, like December 21st of 2004. So really cool to see Luka join that company. And it's not a coincidence. It's LeBron that he's joining in every breath of the conversation. And that's going to bring attention. Like, it'd be one thing to do that in general anywhere. Like, oh, the first guy to do it since 2004. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, he joins LeBron James. Really? That's usually how the conversation unfolds. So I'm excited to see what we can continue getting out of Luka and his growth, his development. Tachia Franklin, what's good? Let's get this cracking. Prayers for JJ. DSJ needs to show up and show off, or let's make a trade. Can't make the same mistake we did when Dirk was in championship form. Dallas is not in championship form right now, fam. Dallas is already within 5 wins of its season total from last year, and we got 40 games to go. So they're going to be much better this year than they were last year. They're going to be in the cusp of the playoffs. In the last month of the season, they'll still be fighting for it. I don't know that they're a playoff team just yet. We have to see what kind of moves they make at the deadline and how they can gel. They have been very inconsistent the past few weeks. They've lost something like 11 of 15 or 16 games, something like that. I did a Mavs Fastbreak the other day for DallasSportsFanatic.com, which I'm changing that formula. I was doing that every week, and then I realized, man, when you're talking sometimes as few as 2 games or as many as 4, it's hard to really project a trend. It's too small of a sample size. To me, a trend is like 5, 6, 7 games at least. And so I've opened that up now where in 2019, Mavs stock report is going to look at 10 games at a time, because then you can really draw some real trends out of that and project, okay, this guy's trending upward, this guy's trending downward. Because a guy can have a rough week and otherwise not miss much of a beat, especially when you're talking sometimes 2 games, which has happened. So bigger sample size, see if we can get a better analysis of all this moving forward. But yeah, I talked about the bench in general has not been as good in recent weeks. And now with Barea gone, that's going to be a huge loss there for a veteran leader and a scoring option for them. Luka Doncic is going to make the All-Star team his first year without a doubt. Absolutely, and here's some interesting facts there. Luka will become just the 3rd rookie in the modern era, which I would deem at this point 2000 onward, to make the All-Star game as a rookie. Not LeBron James, not Carmelo Anthony, not Chris Paul, not... who else do we want to name? Paul George, Derrick Rose. None of those guys did that. The guys that did do it, Yao Ming, we understand why. Yao was very good, but Shaq's numbers killed him that year. It was the international vote, which, to be fair, Luka's benefiting from as well. But Yao Ming made it. And the other one was Blake Griffin, although because he suffered a preseason season-ending injury his first year, 2010, 2011 was effectively his rookie year. He basically pulled a Ben Simmons at the time. He won Rookie of the Year in 2011 as a result. So those are the only 2 to do it. Luka's going to join that discussion there. And the fact that he's already getting like Steve Kerr, one of the most respected coaches in the league, saying, yeah, Luka's an all-star. He's getting all these guys typing him up. He's, I think, in the top 3 in total votes for front court players right now in the West. It's absurd what he's doing. And because of LeBron James's groin injury, not only will Luka make the All-Star game as a rookie, he might end up being a captain. Which I hate the whole draft your squad thing that we do now with the East and West in the All-Star game. But even still, he's going to have that benefit. So, I mean, that's incredible if he reaches that mark. But we'll see. He may even mess around and be a starter, says Kent. Yes, indeed. Would you rather see Luka make the All-Star team or even be the captain, or Dallas make the playoffs and get swept by the 1 seed probably? If it's an either or, now this is going to sound very, very weird because I like the team first mentality. Like Luka, when he was talking with Chauncey Billups, was asked about like what his ultimate goal is in the NBA, and he said to win a championship. And Chauncey's response to that was like, oh, that's really nice to hear. That's refreshing, because most guys will talk instead about, I want to be an all-star, or I want to be a Hall of Famer, or whatever. Luka said, no, it's always team first, because if we win a championship, then everyone's happy. I totally agree. That's my mindset. However, in this case, in your hypothetical, if Dallas makes the playoffs, because I understand it as this. You're saying Dallas makes the playoffs and is swept by the 1 seed, and Luka didn't somehow make the All-Star team in that scenario, or Luka makes the All-Star team and is potentially even a captain, and Dallas misses the playoffs. Because this isn't a year for Dallas anyway, they're already ahead of schedule, in my opinion. I'm not going to be heartbroken if they miss the playoffs. I'm just thrilled to see good basketball in Dallas, and the future as bright as it is. I'm going to take the All-Star scenario here, because those are ultimate recruiting trips if you think about it. You're playing national TV with all the other best of the best in the NBA. So you're impressing the hell out of them. You're getting their attention, and they're starting to think for the first time, ooh, it'd be fun to kind of play on this team, to go to Dallas and play with this kid. I could see playing 82 games a year with him, or something like that. Like, it's a better recruiting target here than not making the playoffs and than not making the All-Star game and getting to the playoffs but getting swept. That's not going to get noticed hardly at all. This will get noticed a lot. They didn't play Wesley in the 4th. Rick put Jalen and he played good. Yeah, I noticed. All-Star team, prayers for my boy JJ, absolutely. Many years to make the playoffs, I agree. Luka was qualified for the Hall of Fame even before playing a minute in the NBA. I don't know about that. It's the NBA. I mean, well, no, it is the Basketball Hall of Fame, but that's never been done. Where a guy never even plays in the NBA, and you're like, all right, you're already a Hall of Famer. Talk about a lightning rod for controversy at that point. Can't catch him. Happy birthday, DDP. Didn't know. Appreciate you, fam. Let's see. MC Apollo. Hey. I dig it. I think I'm in love with Maxi Kleber. Kleba, yeah. Maxi's great, man. I love Maxi as well. I want to see him get more minutes and get more use. He's still the best overall plus minus on the team. I'd like to see him get a lot more burn. I think he's our best rim protector too. Let's see. Cool Hand Luka. I like it. Such a unique name for the USA that he doesn't even need a nickname. Luka is enough. Yeah, I agree. And I hate El Matador and The Matador. Those are garbage nicknames. It doesn't even fit. He's not Spanish. And Matador defense is known to be, ole, you just let your guy go right past you because you're not going to actually stay in front of him and play defense. You don't want a nickname the Matador. I get it. He's got a flair for the dramatic, and he has the crowd in the palm of his hand is what they're saying. I agree with that aspect of it, but the overall connotation historically is trash. And I think a Matador is kind of a controversial thing to be compared with anyway. JJ, we are effed without him in short term for sure. Yeah, it's going to be tough to bounce back from the loss of JJ, but we'll see what they can do with some of these young guys. Almost caught up. I say that, and then I immediately lose place of where the scroll was. Oh, here we go. Wish we could go exactly where the game was. The Mavs handed the keys over to Luka. Felt like it took a while to actually do it, says Jay Nobles. It did. It took a little bit of time for Rick to do that. But Rick, if you remember a few years ago, Rick didn't even like to play rookies hardly at all. With Dennis Smith Jr., he was kind of forced to start doing that. And he's still begrudging. He's a little old school in that way. But eventually it's like, okay, yeah, I can't deny it. This is the guy. And so he does it. No other rookie except for like LeBron James gets the kind of clutch time usage rate that Luka does at this point. So it is incredible. It is incredible what he's doing, and it took a little bit of time, but Rick has pretty much handed the keys over for the most part, and we are seeing more sets where Luka is kind of running the offense, which I love. He's playing great, but hopefully Brunson can take his place. Don't you think Houston game was the moment when everybody felt this kid is born under a lucky star? Yeah, his 11-0 run versus Houston was huge. I think that was when it just became irrefutable, if that makes sense. I think that was the moment where every one of us who was already there championing Luka were kind of like, see right there. And then everyone else who might have been doubting or a little cautious was like, ooh, damn, okay. Yeah, that's where we need to go. Oh, man. JJ's brilliant. Ball security over the ball. Bring security over the ball, excuse me. Says, I liked how Luka was running the starters and the bench. Hope Carlisle does that again. I agree. Are we sure we need another guard to replace JJ? Maybe add a wing. I would like a wing more so. We got a good turnout for a point guard play anyway. Big homie from the D. What's good? Do you think they'll make a trade and get some other guy? I mean, they'll make some kind of move at the deadline, but I don't know that they're looking for another point guard. I think they've got pretty good backcourt depth. Brunson got to take over. I agree. Rangers King, what's good? And potentially some bacon moving forward. Crispy making bacon. Yep. I agree. Yeah. He could in the latter part of the season get some burning. I'd be all for that. Otto and Bench Barnes. Otto would be a huge deal if they could swing that, and I would be all for it. It's just a matter of what they feel the cost is and how... really what it boils down to is Washington willing to accept... Because they've been reluctant. You saw that deal for Trevor Ariza. That was proof that they were still kind of dragging their feet about accepting that this season is kind of a lost cause for them. And until they're proving... I knew that view count was off. As soon as I refreshed it, it went from 13 to 50. That's what's up. I knew that was going to be the case. When they made the trade for Ariza, it was kind of dragging their feet, not wanting to accept the season's a wash. They have to be willing to accept that and at least a partial rebuild if they're going to move Otto. DSJ to lead the bench. For this season, that might not be a bad idea, especially with him being a more score-first point guard. And I think he's a little reluctant sometimes when he's on the court with Luka. I think he's trying to defer a little too much, which, for how good Luka is, you say that's great. But I feel like it is offensively kind of stunting DSJ's growth a little bit as well. And again, if I had to rank one versus the other and I can't have a perfect harmonious situation where both are developing great, I'm going to put Luka above DSJ because that's your absolute face. DSJ is just, I think, a good, strong building block if you develop him right. So we'll see. But I wouldn't mind DSJ moving to the bench to kind of take over for the JJ role, partnered with Brunson. Rough Reven, what's good? LM, what's good? Tunkers, VV Tunkers, what's up? In Dallas, they need to win. They need at least two players all-star to win championship. I get you. They need at least two all-stars to win. In the modern NBA, that's kind of the case, but hey, the year that they won it in 2011, Dirk was the only all-star, the only superstar on that team for sure. Dirk was the last true, pure championship. I can't say that the first title by the Warriors wasn't pure because that was all the guys they drafted, except for Iguodala, which was just a free agent acquisition, and he wasn't a star at that point. So, yeah, that first Warriors one was, but it was at least still loaded with multiple All-Stars and one and kind of two superstars in that case, and Clay and Steph for sure. 3-3 on our last 6 games. Baby steps getting there. Yep. Mara Lokra, what's up? Can Dirk pass Wilt? He's like 200 points away. I haven't looked at it how close he is, but he's within striking distance. But at the rate he's going, it might be tough. I would love to see him pass Wilt, but I don't know that it's a certainty by any means. I'd have to check the numbers and see how close he is. Rangers King, someone in the comments, can you tell us how close Dirk is to catching Wilt on the scoring list? Dirk's at 7 right now. I think he can get back to 6 once he passes Wilt. Luka is basically former Yugoslavia and Spain. Ah, gotcha. Interesting. Yao's votes came from another country with a greater population than all of North America. Yes, agreed. All right, I'm going to start skimming to get caught up a little faster. I'm on the Chris Middleton train now, says Big Homie from the D. That's where I want to be. Depends on if Carlisle uses them. Luka. Big Homie from the D. Happy birthday, DDP. Appreciate you, fam. V kills it for the win. Is there going to be a Cowboys live stream? Yes, 3:30. I will have a Cowboys live stream with Big Game James. We'll talk about the Rams game and the season, kind of in memoriam, the whole year and the future for Dallas. That's coming in about an hour and a half now. He'll never be Matador to me. I agree. There have been plenty of non-NBA players inducted into the Hall of Fame for international achievements. Okay, there you go. I guess I'm wrong. Talking about building a championship team. You know whose team this is. Yes. He is Wonder Boy. Still hoping to hear speaker say Wonder Boy in USA. Yeah? I wish they would stop pushing the Matador thing. I don't like the nickname, even if it's apparently not as ill-advised as I thought. I just don't like that nickname. Dirk is 189 away, says Rangers King. Thank you, Max. Okay, 189. 40 games left, 189 points. I am not a quick on-my-feet mathematical thinker. So, throw this into a calculator, slap it on a biscuit. So, 40 games. That's doable. That's doable. And health permitting, yeah. So, yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a nice little send-off. He is Luka Legend or Luka Magic for me. I dig it. Always be Wonder Boy. Bring in Macon. Luka Magic is so far the best nickname because sometimes he really is magic on the court. That shot in Portland. Yep, absolutely. I don't mind Luka Magic. I just feel like Magic is such a nickname associated with Magic Johnson that I don't want to feel like Luka's riding the coattails of someone else's aura. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in wrestling when you have a guy take the same nickname. Now, you had Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and then you had Nature Boy Ric Flair. Now, Ric Flair elevated the nickname substantially, and he's considered one of the all-time greats, if not the best ever. Although you could talk as far as Rockstar or maybe Hulk Hogan being better. But that's how that kind of works out. But I don't like when you kind of take the same gimmick or nickname or whatever as someone else. I want Luka to be his own thing. I want Luka to be purely his own, like, phenom. And so for that's the only reason I kind of resist a little bit Luka Magic. But yes, sir. Man can dream. He is a freak beyond imagination, Giannis is. Yes, he is. Do we trade to get better for next year, asks Cornbread. Do we trade to get better? Yeah, they'll make a trade at the deadline. Wes Matthews is an expiring contract. I fully expect him to be on the move. The Prodigy, that's not bad. I fully expect Wes Matthews to be on the move at the deadline, and I could see a substantial shakeup, whether that be Barnes. Barnes would be a little surprising if they moved on from him, as would DSJ, but if if you can get the right deal in return for DSJ shipping out, they would do it, I think, and I would be all right with it, but I'm going to be a little bit picky about shipping out DSJ until at least this time next year if something's not kind of shaken up a little bit. But we'll see. We shall see indeed. Giannis was just given Superman by Shaq. Giannis doesn't need it. He's the Greek freak. That's already better than Superman. And Dwight Howard was Superman too. Like, Superman's an outplayed nickname, I think. I noticed that Otto Porter Jr. came off the bench for Washington the last few games. Maybe we can get him for Wes and 1 or 2 second-round picks. Yeah, because we don't have any first-round picks to offer up anytime soon. So, and I don't think we can trade a first round pick either until the deal with Atlanta completes. So as a result of that, we have to bank on second round picks. And Porter for Wes and a 1 or 2 twos would be shockingly cheap, and I would do that right now if we could do that. But who knows? Guys, by the way, with all of you here, if you haven't already, please take a moment, like this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell. I'll talk in a minute about kind of the plans for next week. Next week's going to be a little bit different, but I'll explain all that. Never considered that magic part, but well taken. Food for thought for me. That's fine. Hope that once again they overcome the Warriors, says Zoran. Yeah, I would love for them to beat the Warriors, but who knows? I mean, I was kind of shocked they beat them. The Warriors are the pinnacle. The Warriors are the running dynasty right now in the NBA. So the fact that we got them once is shocking in its own right. If we can do it again, that's phenomenal. We're inconsistent right now. We are. Some of the better players on our team are young. I don't think there's a problem with Coach Rick Carlisle. I know he's had some mistakes and he's made some questionable rotation moves and leaving like Luka on the bench too long in the third quarter sometimes. You experiment more throughout the regular season, but I know when push comes to shove, I usually feel very good about Rick Carlisle once playoffs roll around. Once it gets down to win or go home time, I feel really good about Rick Carlisle. Lord is too English, says 123 Holston. Yeah, I kind of feel that, Lord Luka. Hope they, let's see. Yes, and he looked beaten. You can't play like that your entire career. Your body will break at the end of the EuroLeague season. His face didn't look right. Are we talking about Luka? Wes and Powell, no picks required, maybe. I would be up for that, but I don't know if that would be enough for Washington. But if Wes plus Powell works, I would be up for that. I like Powell, but I think Powell is pretty much at his ceiling. I don't think there's a lot of room for him to continue to grow. Although he does play very well with Maxey. So what is it that Locked On Mavs says he would say this more so in reference to Devin Harris and JJ Barea, but you could also say it kind of works for Dwight and Maxey, that it's kind of like they're the ice climbers, where in like Smash Bros, if you have both ice climbers, they're really good playing off each other, but if you lose one of them, you're kind of like, oh, you're suddenly very unimpressive. But they play better together. He has a tattoo in his hand. Maybe a connotation with that tattoo would be good. Something Egypt, gods of Egypt. Crazy ideas here. I don't have a problem with that at all. How do you feel about chasing Kristaps Porzingis? I've heard that Porzingis returning to the Knicks is not the certainty that people thought it was. He still hasn't played yet this year, I believe. And Ranger King took exception to what I said. Again, if I got to pick one, Dwight or Maxey, I'm taking Maxey. Porzingis, though, he's like, what, 7'3"? I mean, he's big, dude. Great stretch four. He's a unicorn in his own right. And he's very young, so people, even though he's coming off an ACL, people are still confident that he can kind of regain that form and hold on to that. I would very much be on board with riding Porzingis and Luka as my foundation. And Porzingis is someone that I would... Now, the Knicks wouldn't want Dennis Smith probably because of their setup. I mean, they got Nikhil Atita, Frank. They got him and a couple other guys there. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a 3-team deal and DSJ goes elsewhere. But a deal for like Porzingis would be one I would be willing to part with DSJ for. Even though I still have some concerns about his overall health and his ability and longevity. But I'm still going to roll that dice because Luka plus Porzingod, as his nickname is pretty hard to ignore. The Don sounds good too, yeah. That one's grown on me a little bit. It sounds a little mafia boss to me, but I dig it. I would like to see Jason Kidd join the coaching staff. I'd be all for that, and Kidd doesn't even have a job these days, so I'd be interested in that. My question is, I mean, he got along with Rick well. My question would be, would he be fine with being like an assistant or something? CJ, sup, yo? Don't really think we need a point guard. Just need to find someone to guard other opponents' point guards. Our offense runs best with Luka at point forward. I agree. That's why I said I'm not really looking to replace with another point guard for a trade. But you're going to have to find someone to take that role J.J. Barea had. That was such an important role he provided to the team. So whether that means giving a lot of that to Brunson or moving DSJ to the bench and kind of having him, from a scoring perspective, try and take on that second unit. I don't know. I don't hate that, honestly. Darth Luka. Yeah, I've heard a lot of Star Wars names for him. You also had, was it Luka Skywalker was another one. Those work when you're talking about like Star Wars night at the AAC or something, but I don't like references that are built off someone else's name brand recognition and your name just happens to be like a pun off of it. Welcome kid with open arms as an assistant. Luka plus Porzingis, not a chance that happens. It's probably not likely, but I'm just telling you, the Knicks are, from what I'm hearing, it's not a done deal that they're keeping him, that they're going to lock him up like everyone expected at the start of the season. And I know the Spurs have said, or rather it's been reported, that the Spurs really want Porzingis. Like, really want him. So you're going to have some harsh competition to get him. But I would be very interested if it could be done to have that pairing. How about DSJ and whatever for Drew Holiday if New Orleans ends up trading AD? That's a huge contract that Drew Holiday has. He got, like, one of those absurd expensive contracts a couple of years ago. So you'd be eating up a huge chunk of your cap figure for the next year if you made that move. I don't love it, but it's something that they could consider. I wouldn't go that route personally. Did you see Kevin O'Connor report that the Suns and Magic want Dennis? Yes, I saw a mention of it, and they got centers to spare. So I haven't looked into it a whole lot more, thought about it, because to me it just sounds like speculation and exploratory kind of reports. But we'll see as the deadline comes up, which is in February. As the deadline comes around, that's going to really heat up and we might see some traction. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I'm moving Dennis, it's for a significant prospect of, like, it's like a Bradley Beal, like a guy who's like in his mid-20s. I'm not taking a guy that's like 30 or something like that. I'm getting a guy that keeps my window wide open and can pair with Luka, and I know that I can have a borderline star with him. Sevens nickname, yeah, that one's not bad as well. It doesn't have. I'd rather him just be Luka than Sevens, honestly, though. Like, you know, kind of like how Dirk has like 27 nicknames, and really we don't talk about it, but only like 3 of them are any good. Tall Baller from the G, Ghostface Drilla, even that one's kind of eh. Dirk Diggler. Now we're just referencing Boogie Nights, but yeah, I'd rather just roll Luka, or if I gotta do something off of it, I say Luka Legend because I flipped the 77 to L's. Luka Legend. There you go. But everyone's got their own thing. Rocket. Skywalker's been had. David Thompson. There you go. He'll be 1-7 as soon as Powell is gone. That's possible because he wanted 7. But Powell's connection with the number is like he was born at 7 in the morning, and then his mother passed away at 7 o'clock. I don't know if it was also morning or evening, but 7. So that's where 7 comes from for him and his significance, and why Powell will never change jersey numbers. And if he ever got traded to a team where he couldn't take 7, I feel like he would then go out of his way to become like Luka and be 77, where he just throws them together. I get the impression that several colleagues of Luka are jealous of him. Here included technical staff. This reminds me of when LeBron started, and in the end, he left Cleveland Cavaliers. Early on, there was definitely, I thought, some kind of, not necessarily resentment, But I felt like there was some kind of weird vibe where some of the veterans of the team weren't super receptive to Luka because it was kind of like he came in here and instantly owned the place. And I think that rubbed some of the veterans the wrong way. But eventually, you just keep chipping away and you earn that respect. And now it's just like, yeah, people don't question it. This is Luka's team. So that's how I view it now. I think it just kind of eventually worked itself out. But early on in the year, I absolutely felt that there was some of that from veterans, whether it was Wes, whether it was DeAndre Jordan, or whatever. Luke will have a hard time finding the perfect nickname because, let's be honest, his personality is just a bit boring. I think Luka feels like a meme machine. Whether it's like his little thing where he got on the Jumbotron, a couple weeks ago, and he kind of like looks up, sees it, and just kind of like, oh. Like, he just, you always look at him, and he's always got some crazy reaction that's instantly made into a GIF and shared everywhere by Mavericks fans, ESPN, and SportsCenter. And, he's got personality. I just think he's kind of the happy-go-lucky kid, basically. I don't know. Legend is Larry's nickname. Larry Legend. Yeah, it is. That's a fair point. As I was talking earlier about Luka Legend, and I was talking about Magic Johnson. And yes, great point there, Says. That pretty much debunks my classification for pushing back against Magic, I guess. But I said I did like Magic. I just pushed back a little bit on it. So, okay, fair point. I guess the argument I would make is that Magic's real name was Irvin Johnson, and no one called him anything but Magic. Larry Bird was Larry Bird. Like, Larry Legend was a nickname for him, but no one predominantly called him Larry Legend. You know what I'm saying? Like, the announcers calling the game didn't say, oh, great shot by Larry Legend, or, oh, what a pass from Larry Legend. Like, they didn't do that. Magic Johnson, that's what he was. His first name was irrelevant at that point. So I guess I did push back just a little bit, but in principle, I agree with you. Kleba's in the starting lineup is a must. Dirk, only garbage time, otherwise playoffs are not possible. Dirk is a saint in the city of Dallas. Dirk brought this city its only championship and gave us 20 years. I guess this is 21. I'll say 17 years of excellence from Dirk. But yeah, it's Dirk needs to have middle of the road minutes. I think Dirk has value, but it's at this point it's going to be his last year, and it's more of just a send off tour. I don't know the likelihood of playoffs, but if Dirk's there, great. If they're able to be there, fantastic. I would love for Dirk to get one more run at the playoffs after several years away. But we have to see. Luka 7 heaven is fresh. Nice. If Kawhi tried a little harder, he could be such a meme machine. Yeah, Kawhi, you talk about a guy who's just devoid of personality. It's Kawhi Leonard. The dude doesn't even know how to laugh right. That's about my closest impersonation from memory. Just because he's not messing around on Instagram and Twitter and creating artificial beef with everyone like Embiid, it doesn't mean his personality is boring. I prefer him like he is, says FX Garden. I agree. I hate the Embiid thing that they do, just the obnoxious trash talk where they're just going to bury people and say they can do everything, and that crap always annoys me. I personally have always been like the mindset of prove it on the court. Go out on the court and shut them up. Otherwise, don't talk. Your talk means nothing. But Embiid does live in the headspace of guys like Drummond, so I guess it works in some cases, but other times he'll run his mouth and then get shut up, and it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said something. Shouldn't poke the bear. Sometimes scrolling the thing just jumps away from me. Off topic, Mavs should sign Terry in the last few games of the regular season. Would give him and Dirk a grand send-off together like how Wade and Haslam in Miami. I would effing love that. Jason Terry is, next to Dirk, my favorite Maverick of all time, although Luka is very quickly going to push that. I wore 31. I was a shooting guard in high school, and I wore 31 all through high school because of Jason Terry. That is my dude, and Yeah, that's my dude. What is new with Barea? Barea tore his Achilles tendon, unfortunately, in Minnesota. His season is done. 34 years old. His career may very well be done. It's at the very least in jeopardy, unfortunately. White Magic is tapping into racial territory. Hard pass on this. I didn't see who suggested White Magic. I definitely didn't suggest it. That's a good argument, says Says. Yay! The kid Luka will grow at some point, enjoy his younger years. Only get to see this once. Exactly. Jacob Perkins, new Twitter account at Mavs_Facebook, where I post the best comments I find on various Mavs Facebook groups. All right. I will allow this, Jacob. Usually I'm a little reluctant toward people plugging sites or pages or channels or whatever, but I will allow this. You're a strong P1 of this channel, so I'll roll with it. Tag me in them sometimes too, because I want to start doing some bad takes, some cold takes, if you will, freezing takes. Apparently Carlisle told Dirk he's not playing him for a while. I mean, Dirk hasn't looked physically quite right yet, so we'll see what happens with that. I think Luka is a coach on the court, but they don't act his age, so they're not letting him take control. They don't like his age. I mean, you had aspects of that. Jason Kidd was a floor general. He was absolutely a coach on the floor, and I don't know. Maybe with time they'll give Luka that more. I don't think you can take the infectious energy out of Luka. You have to let him be himself. If you try and just strip him away of any personality and try and make him like a Kawhi Leonard, you're asking for trouble. You're going to take away a lot of the flair that makes him so unique. And that's one thing Rick Carlisle talked about in the Sports Illustrated article of Luka Doncic a little while back. That is what he knows his greatest challenge is. You want to develop the kid and you want to guide him, but at the same time, even though a lot of his play is outside of your normal, more strict framework, you can't strip that from him, or else you take away the best parts of him, the things that make him unique. And his example for that was Greg Popovich and Manu Ginobili. When Ginobili came over, Popovich had that same thing where he realized he was doing too much early on with Manu Ginobili and kind of stripping him away and making him too vanilla because he wanted him to work in his more strict system at the time. And it's like, no, you can't do that. If you want the most out of the kid, if you want him and the team as a whole to go as far as it can, you can't take that away from him because that's what makes him so unique and so difficult to guard. So Popovich did it, and that's kind of the model that Rick looked at for Luka, realizing, I can't do that. Let's see. Spencer Simpson, if you had the opportunity, how would you build the best team to surround Luka? What would be your starting five? Not trying to spam, just curious. Whew, that's a loaded question. We're talking in a hypothetical where are we talking where it's like basically 2K and I can just sit there and piece together the roster however I want, or do I have to work within realistic trade scenario of like, okay, here's the roster, here's the salary cap things, I can make a trade for this guy, I can move this to this? Because I would tell you Chris Middleton would be a must. Otto Porter Jr. would be another very interesting prospect, but I think it'd be a one or the other, obviously, there. As far as who you could pair with, I think Middleton is who I'd rather go with in those two. There's intrigue in Porzingis, but you're not going to have the kind of trade capital to land all of that. So it gets murky. I'd have to think on that more, honestly. Luka the Savior Doncic. I like it. I think Rick has some issues with Luka. I just feel like he's not feeling it. I think he's just still a little hesitant to give total free reign to a rookie. But I think Rick is, don't worry, that's going to sort itself out. Or maybe Rick is trying to tank and Luka does not let him. I don't think that's the case at all. Dallas, if Dallas was trying to tank, they're doing a terrible job of it because they're not mathematically gone from keeping their first round pick, but the odds of being in the top 5 of the draft at this point are very, very, very slim. Should Dirk's jersey be retired? Absolutely, it should be retired. at his last home game. I think that'd be awesome. If his jersey's not retired no later than the season opener next year, we have a serious problem. I would literally open the AAC for opening night next year with a Dirk jersey retirement ceremony and the unveiling of the statue outside the arena. I don't wait at all. I immediately do that because Dirk has absolutely earned that. Just retire Luka's jersey together with Dirk. Let's not wait 20 years. Well, we're going to be waiting a little bit before we do that, obviously. We got to see how the guy's career plays out. If you never know. The NBA can be weird sometimes. Jason Kidd won Rookie of the Year in Dallas in 94, and like 2 years into his career was already out of Dallas. He was already on to Phoenix because the relationship soured. The locker room was toxic for the Mavericks at the time, and he basically forced a way out. So can't do that now, but we'll see. Realistic if possible on that starting five scenario, building around Luka. Middleton is huge for me as far as a want. Porter is huge. Again, I'll take a look at this. I'll do a video or something on this here in the near future. Again, with the Cowboys season wrapping up now, I actually have more time that I can actually do some of these independent videos where I actually film and edit and do all that by themselves, and it's not just live streams like this. So I'll do one on that where I try and build my ideal team around Luka based on the realistic scenario right now with the current roster and salary cap and likelihood of a trade. Not just something that financially works, but something another team would be at least likely to consider as far as trades. Mavs couldn't wind with Triple J Ranch. Yeah. Let's see. I like Maxey at the 4. Best to get another center. Yeah. Boogie's very interesting. So he's going to make his season debut in 5 days for the Warriors. They are unfairly good. They're probably going to win again this year. But we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. Boogie, I'm very interested in for next year. I think he would be... Now, he is a guy that you've got to have a very strong locker room culture to avoid him kind of turning things toxic. But I'm content that we could probably do that. But this is where you want to point on Rick and say, hey, you've got to make this work. Rondo didn't work. Now, Rondo was an unmitigated disaster. I don't put that at Rick's feet, but it's still worth saying that went south in large part because Rick wasn't ready to just completely turn the keys over, and Rondo didn't play well within the system, didn't play well with some of the teammates, and just had a general diva attitude, and the whole combination was something Rick wanted nothing to do with. Why not keep DeAndre Jordan? DeAndre Jordan gets boards like crazy, but he doesn't try. He doesn't give his full effort all the time, and it's incredibly frustrating sometimes watching how he'll just let a guy come off the pick and roll, run right at him, and he won't even put a hand up to try and block a shot. Does not protect the rim very well, and he's just inconsistent, man. Like, he still gets his boards. That's his bread and butter, but there's just too much frustration, I feel, with him at times when it comes to something as simple as effort. For a few years, I got a feeling we'd wind up with Boogie someday, but let's see how it looks. I had the same feeling, actually, Ruff. Had that feeling for sure. Hi from Slovenia. What is good? What's good? Appreciate your tuning in and everything, man. Who would be welcomed back first by the fans, Rondo or Parsons? Parsons. Rondo will never be welcomed back. Ever. Parsons didn't work out, but Parsons not working out was unfortunate. It was due to his health. He had several knee injuries to the same knees, had surgery on that. Hey, thanks for the sub, man. He's had surgery on that knee like 4 times, and by the time... When he left Dallas for a 4-year, $94 million contract with the Grizzlies, and Dallas gave that same contract to Harrison Barnes to come here, Dallas won that 100 times over in that exchange. But Parsons' decline was not at all due to his fault. It was just his body gave out. He wasn't the Parsons from Houston or even early on in Dallas that we saw. There was a time when I thought he could be a not the guy in Dallas, but I thought he could be certainly in the foundation of like 3 or 4 guys that we built around, and his health just didn't hold up. So we'll see. MC Apollo, PS, also from Slovenia. Hey, salute, man. That's cool. That is cool. Armin as well. Oh, Armin's saying, have a cookie. We don't gotta be negative. I mean, it's cool. It's awesome, dude. I'm just running this show here in basically Dallas, Texas, and it still trips me out sometimes to do this show and see people from all over the world watching. It's really humbling, like it is. It's almost impossible to think about someone like on the other side of the world watching this stream as I'm doing it live. Like, it's really, really stinking cool. So, hey, if you guys ever want, shout out where you're from. Shout out where you're from in the comments. I'm never going to be... I will read it out. I will never be negative about it. Salute to everyone who tunes in. You guys are definitely the highlight of my day whenever I do these shows. Look how much better Nerlens Noel was doing in OKC. So are you talking about like with regard to Rick in that case? Nerlens, he's doing better, but it's a better team around him than he had here in Dallas at that point. And he's the backup center, so he's not going against the starting center. He's getting better matchups. And he's just a hustle energy guy as well. Speaking of that, man, he had a scary, scary fall the other day. I can't believe he didn't get like a skull fracture from that. It was against the Wolves, actually. Yeah, Wiggins went to dunk on him. Elbowed him in the face, knocked him out before he hit the ground, and then his head just whiplashed off the court. They had to stretcher him out. That was one of the scarier falls I've seen in a while, man. That was surreal. He got a really bad concussion, they said, but no fractures, so I don't know when he'll be back, but hey, glad it's at least not, life-threatening or something, because that was scary. John Krebs, I think I saw you said you were from the Philippines before you, for some reason, retracted the comment. If so, salute. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Let's see. I got time for a few more questions here, guys. I'm at the 57-minute mark, so I'll take a few more quick questions, and then I got to wrap this up. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a moment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I promise you guys, I am making big changes in this channel in 2019. Now, we're still going to talk Mavericks. We're still going to talk Cowboys. The subject matter will not change, but I'm going to make this bigger and better in 2019. I'm not gonna tip my hand, so to speak, as far as what I got in mind, but I'll let you know. Let's see here. Dummy 1006. Regards from Slovenia. What's up? Nice talking, man. Take care. Thanks, MC Apollo. I'm sub-belled and liked. Thank you, Kent. Yes. So, as I was saying, 2019, I'm going to be rolling out some new stuff. I'm going to talk more on a wider subject of things. I'm still talking Mavericks and Cowboys, but you'll see. I'm going to offer some introspection, analysis, and even some commentary on some wider subjects as well. And they're all still going to pertain to the Mavs and the Cowboys. You'll see. Again, I don't want to tip my hand, but here's the thing. I look across the landscape as far as other YouTubers, whether they talk Cowboys, whether they talk Mavericks, and I can do... there's going to be pop culture stuff as well, Jacob. There's going to be pop culture content as well, like I've done before with some film analysis, but it's never going to take away from the sports content I do. Looking across the YouTube landscape, I see guys who do straight sports talk, and I can do straight sports talk, and I feel I can hold my own with any of them. Any of them. I have no doubt about that. I am very confident in myself on that front. But I acknowledge that I am one of many who have a somewhat similar, straightforward approach on straight sports talk. I love doing that. These live streams where I'm just talking with you guys, I don't have a script over here. This is just us talking. I have a few points or subjects I want to talk about, and then the rest is just interacting with you guys. I love that. This will continue. In addition to this, however, I'm going to do something that I can do that none of those other guys can do. That none of those other guys think to do. So I'm going to be out all next week. Monday to Friday, I'm out. I am totally going off the grid. I am basically going under the hood. I'm going to figure out some new things that I want to do with this channel. I'm going to brainstorm. I am going to work my ass off because in 2019, I have no flow as a rapper, but if I ever think of one for a parody for it, I'll roll that out. Sure, why not? It would hardly be the first time I willingly made a fool of myself. But I'm going to make some big things happen on this channel in 2019. Today is my birthday. I'm 29. This is going to be a huge year for the Dallas Prospect, and we're going to grow this thing. You all are here. Thank you all to everyone who supports everything that I've been trying to build, that we are trying to build. I am eternally grateful to you guys, and I feel I owe it to you guys to give you everything that I can. And to this point, I've been giving a more straightforward sports talk approach, and I know I can do more. I know that I have so much more that I can offer, creativity, and you're going to see it. So I appreciate all of you. Guys, let me know. I'm thinking of opening up like a Discord for the Dallas Prospect as well. That way you guys can hit me up whenever. We can just talk on that. We can set that up. If you guys ever want to get in touch with me, drop me a line there, and we can keep, just like we have these comment threads going here during the stream, we can do that whenever. So if you guys like that, let me know. Let me know in the comments, and we'll set that up. I'm going to build this community, and I am going to, without straying from our roots, I am going to overhaul the channel, and I'm going to do something no one else is doing. That is my promise. Let's see here. Not strictly sports. Let's beat Golden State Warriors tonight. Again, Luka for 30. I'd like it. Luka and Curry opposite sides of the court. Let's have a special feeling in my stomach. Best game of the year. MC Apollo, happy birthday, man. Appreciate you. Freedom Roar, what's good? Looking forward with what you come up with. Appreciate you. Says, happy birthday. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, Bartol. Thank you, Dummy1006. Jacob Perkins as well. Doc for Love 1963. Thank you. Appreciate you, fam. I remember 29, 18 years ago. Yeah, it's the last year of my 20s, so feels like at this point I need to take that kind of next step. And if I'm serious about this thing, which I am, then that's going to be my goal. That's what I'm going to do. Also, look for me to do some actual video production stuff with Dallas Sports Fanatic as well. I've teased long since a retrospective series, and that's kind of similar to what I'm talking about here. But I'm going to do that with Dallas Sports Fanatic as well, and you'll see. You'll see. I can do what they do. They can't do what I do. Or what I'm going to do, rather, I should say. I haven't done it yet. Lauber, happy birthday, man. Wish you all the best. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it, fam. Really appreciate it. Rough or Even, thank you, sir. Alexander, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Seriously, guys, thank you. Really, it means a lot. Zoran, thank you, sir. Let's see here. Rangers King, special Discord for patrons. Yeah, if any of you are interested, we do have a... Oh, Big Game James is not on the line, but we do have a Patreon if you're interested. I don't ever want to push it on you guys, but if you like the Dallas Prospect and want to support what we do, thank you, Rangers King. If you like Dallas Prospect and you want to support what we do, we have a Patreon. It'll get you early access to some of the new content we're rolling out, some behind the scenes stuff, as well as, did I already mention early access? Early access, behind the scenes stuff, and an additional podcast that will run out monthly. That's special for patrons, where we can take your questions and we can talk about it. It's going to have some extended interview segments as well, with some of our guests in the future, because we're going to have some pretty cool interviews coming up here in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But those are all there. Every dollar that comes in, whether it's from Super Chat, whether it's from Patreon or Cash Me or whatever, all those links, if you want to see, they're in the description below. But everything that comes in, we turn around and we put right back into the product, whether it's the equipment, the streaming software, the video editing software, everything goes back into the product of this. So I'm not gonna push it on you guys like saying like, do this by any means. It's if you love what we do and support it, want to see it grow, you're helping us, would mean the world. What happened to the 2006 retrospective? That is the first project with Dallas Sports Fanatic. So I am finalizing the details with them that we are going to work together, because I'm kind of like, even though I'm a staff Cowboys and Mavericks writer for Dallas Sports Fanatic, I'm a little bit more of like an independent contractor because I'm still continuing with my own brand, the Dallas Prospect. That was one of my requirements in the initial discussions, was that I wasn't going to just completely stop doing what I'm doing and do their work for them. I'm basically working and kind of in partner with them, if you think about it. And so I'm going to do the Dallas Mavericks 2006 retrospective, and that is going to be something that I do with Dallas Sports Fanatic. We're just finalizing those details, and then we're going to begin filming here soon. So keep an eye out for that. I haven't pushed it in a while because I've been waiting for those details to be finalized. Once it's down on paper and I know everything's good and that I've covered my bases that I need to cover personally, then we're going to move forward with it. Branko, happy birthday. Appreciate you, fam. Guys, remember the name Urban. He is another 13-year-old who just went to Real Madrid from Slovenia, just like Luka did. I'll keep an ear out for that. You think Luka will make the All-Star as a reserve? I know he won't start, says Marcos. He'll make the All-Star team. He could potentially make it as a captain with the fan voting going the way it is. And LeBron might miss the All-Star game because of his groin injury, so who knows? Is JJ out for the season? Does that mean open roster spot, asks Ralph. JJ Barea is out for the season with a torn Achilles tendon. His career is now in jeopardy because he's 34 years old, and tearing the Achilles is one of the hardest injuries to come back from. So we'll see. What does that mean? Does it mean an open roster spot for Kostas or Spalding? I would love seeing either of those guys, honestly, brought up. I think Kostas is more raw. I think Spalding is perhaps a little more ready-made to come in and make a big, consistent impact. But we'll see what happens. Brunson's going to get a lot of those minutes. I don't think they're going to go out and pick up another point guard. So we'll see. But I'm curious to see how they do it. We haven't had time to see their counter move now that they make to adjust for losing Barea for the year. P.S. Klemen was also huge for Slovenia. Putting minutes in the NBA, really deserves it. Okay, cool. Macon should get that call out now that JJ's up. That's assuming that they want to bring up another point guard. If they do, Macon has my attention. I wouldn't mind seeing him either, but we'll see. Perplectic, come on, man, get real. Let's be honest. No, we're still in that side conversation. Remember, half of the voting is determined by media and players. Yeah, I know, but there's been no players who have said anything negative about Luka unless you kind of look indirectly at Michael Porter Jr., and he hadn't even played this year. So the coaches absolutely have Luka's back. I think the media I think Luka is going to... I think he very well could start. I do think there's a solid chance. Shooter, not a point guard. Sad for JJ. He was really great. He's an all-time Mavs fan favorite and an all-time Mavs great as far as role players, bench players, all that. Let's see. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this show, guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you are interested in the Luka Legend shirts, which I have pictured up here, it is a limited print. Today is the last day that it is going to be listed for sale, the Luka Legend 77 shirt. If you want to check that out, go to represent.com/store/the-Dallas-prospect. The link is in the description. Check it out. Get the order in while you still have a chance if you want it. And until next time, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'll be back next Sunday. We'll do this again. And remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down!